welcome back to Cindy's Library. This is Cindy, and today I am going to talk about the Barsetshire series, which I just finished this month, by Anthony Trollope. So Barsetshire is imaginary, but it's quite realistic in its description of what a little English county would be like, with its chief city being Barset. It's a cathedral city, and so lots of church politics. We start with the warden, and the warden is just the most adorable person ever. Septimus Harding. So we get his adventures. He is the most inoffensive person, and his job is as a church warden of this place for old men who basically have nowhere else to go. But it is brought up that he's getting money he shouldn't from this job, and so he's horrified to think of it, and things go on from there. Then we get Barsetshire Towers, in which we get a little bit of Septimus Harding, but really we get tons, even more church politics, because the old bishop has died. And so at first there's the question of who will the new bishop be, and eventually it is chosen Dr. Prouty, who has quite the forceful wife, and there's some question about who is going to really rule church matters, Mrs. Prouty or someone else, and not the bishop, because he does whatever she says, basically. And of course, in just about every Anthony Trollope, we have young love. We go a bit further afield in Dr. Thorne. We get his and his family's adventures in a neighboring hamlet outside of Barsetshire Cathedral, or Barchester. And so, yes, young love again. And we get class and politics, more regular politics this time. It's a good time. Then we have Bramley Parsonage, where we go down to another end of Barsetshire County with Mark Roberts and his family, and some trouble he gets in. And indeed, love strikes once again. Then we have the small house at Allington, which is another corner of Barsetshire. This time we have the little house at Allington as opposed to the large house where a widow and her two daughters live, and all of their romantic entanglements, especially the one. And everything is basically brought back together. The final Chronicle of Barset, in which we see major characters, at least as cameos in here, if not major players, in the story of Reverend Josiah Crawley, who is accused of thieving, and so we get more church politics. And so, quite the series. I wasn't quite entirely sure about it at first, I admit, because the first books are good, but the last Chronicle of Barsetshire makes it completely worth it because it all builds to this grand finale there. So, highly recommend. Where would I recommend you start? With Anthony Trollope. Well, aside from these and The Way We Live Now, those are the only Anthony Trollops I have read. So I can't really give any other recommendations. I would say this series is a good place to start. I would say though that you do the Warden and Barchester Towers together because they're kind of basically all on the same story, really. And that'll give you a good flavor for if Anthony Trollope, or at least this series, is for you. As for my rankings, well, it's difficult, but this is what I have come up with. Going to have to put The Warden last, because as much as I love Septimus Harding, this is a slight book, and so for that reason alone, I think I kind of have to put it last. I am going to have to put... Oh, grabbed the wrong ones. The Small House at Allington next, just because it is a sad ending. And while the last book does make it completely understandable, it's a sad ending. Then Framley Parsonage, going to have to put this next because it ends well, but we take some sad paths to get there. Probably going to have to put Barchester Towers next because I loved the love story, but I liked the love story in Dr. Thorne better, and this one has some great comeuppance. And I'm going to have to put the Last Chronicle of Barset on the top because it really does do such an amazing job telling its own story and then wrapping the whole series up, and all these characters we have loved for several thousand pages at this point. So that is probably how I would list everything here. So those are my thoughts on the Barchester Share series, and absolutely loved it. So glad I managed to finish it this year. Basically read all of these in a little over 2 years, I am guessing. And it was so worth it. So, yeah. If you're into classics, I would highly recommend giving it a try if you haven't given it a try or Anthony Trollope a try yet. Thank you so much for stopping by. I truly do appreciate it. So until next time, I hope we all stay safe and healthy, and as always, happy reading.